You want me to put that on my todger?
This one's wife, Doria, the Lieutenant Resurfaces. Those of you who are familiar with my work understand that the narcissist has a coterie, and then there are lieutenants. The lieutenants are individuals that carry out more of the narcissist's bidding. They're loyal to the narcissist. Those lieutenants can be drawn from normals, other narcissists, sometimes even empathic individuals. Doria Ragland, this one's wife's mother, is a lieutenant in the fuel matrix of her daughter. Both are narcissists, and I've explained previously why it is that, at least publicly, they are seen to largely get along. We, of course, saw a few years ago the death stare being directed towards Doria when she had the audacity to interrupt this one's wife at the Grenfell cookbook event. But by and large, these two individuals, both narcissists, coexist externally to the outside world somewhat peacefully. This is essentially because Doria Ragland's narcissism recognises that there is a considerable residual benefit that's to be obtained through her daughter: money. Thus, she acts in agreement with the requirements of this one's wife, thus gaining control over her daughter by agreement, and therefore doing what is required of her by her daughter, thus not offending the notion of control that this one's wife needs. There is, in effect, a trade-off. It isn't always peaceful. There will be instances where they will deliver a collective devaluation to one another. They also have areas of mutual interest with regard to controlling old ginger bollocks. Here, once again, this one's wife needs to control him as the intimate partner primary source, and utilises her mother as a lieutenant to do so. She will, by virtue of a pincer movement, criticise Harry, and Doria Ragland, as a loyal lieutenant, will support that criticism, causing Harry to feel outvoted and causing him to believe, I must be in the wrong if the two of them say that I am. Once again, Doria Ragland's agreement with her daughter does not threaten the need for control that this one's wife needs, and she is perfectly content to provide that agreement, as it means that her daughter does not offend her need for control. The individual who suffers most, of course, is the Prince of Pink Pancakes. Accordingly, we've learnt that as a consequence of this lieutenant status, Doria Ragland spends a reasonable amount of time with the couple and the children, primarily providing a residual benefit to this one's wife by looking after the children. She was also, of course, the individual that was filming and taking photographs that ended up in the Harry and this one's wife's Shitflix documentary. As a consequence of this loyalty, she started gaining a little more prominence for herself, and she accompanied the couple to the Bort Awards ceremony back in May that formed the basis of the car chase that never was, and she was also photographed a couple of times out and about hobnobbing with some famous individuals. She was being afforded her own time in the sun, which of course was all good for her, as it enabled her to increase her residual benefits and gain more fuel by extending the nature of her fuel matrix. And then she appears to have disappeared. She has vanished from the public eye. Is it the case that this one's wife has become envious of the sudden increasing fame that her mother was achieving and therefore has pulled the plug on her attendances? Possibly so. Might it be that she has said, in effect, you're getting too big for your boots, and therefore deems that her mother isn't exhibiting the level of loyalty that she ought to do. That is also a possibility, resulting in this one's wife issuing a corrective devaluation, a slap across the wrist to say, get back in your box and behave yourself. In such circumstances, Doria Ragland, as a narcissist herself, would assert control over her daughter through withdrawal. Thus, they both get the control that they crave. Nevertheless, notwithstanding this apparent withdrawal from public view once again, it's fallen to a PR publication to thrust her forward once more. Yes, the ever-reliable Hello, with an article from Rachel Avery, has caused this one's wife's mother to appear on the radar once again. And with it, of course, there is always the opportunity for there to be discussion about this one's wife. Thus, her mother appears on the radar, and in turn it provides an opportunity for this one's wife to assert control over the readership and draw fuel from them. Rather than engage in the privacy that she so apparently craves, she cannot help herself but ensure that another PR puff piece is pumped out, and it involves her mother. You might wonder, what then has Doria Ragland been doing? Has she been seen hobnobbing with perhaps a Kardashian? Maybe she has been appearing on some kind of game show. Has she been seen out doing some shopping? Maybe she's been seen out and about with this one's wife. Possibly, maybe even with the two children. Lo and behold, is a rare sighting of Lilibet and Archie in the offing. Where has the more reclusive Doria Ragland suddenly reappeared this time? Where has she resurfaced in order for this one's wife to make use of her? Well, it's nothing as exciting as any of the things that I've just mentioned. Indeed, it's a regurgitation through a PR puff piece of something that we knew years ago, but it's been pulled out, dusted off, and the past has been brought up again. Because the article is inside this one's wife's mother, Doria Ragland's stunning, gifted tropical home. Ah, yes, it's about her house. We know about this already. This one's wife is incredibly close to her mother, facade management, Doria Ragland, who reportedly stays in the guest house on site at Prince Harry and this one's wife's Monty Shitshow mansion with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet whenever she visits, provision of residual benefit. Despite their close relationship, Doria lives a 2-hour drive away from the Sussexes in View Park, Windsor Hills in LA. Doria's beautiful property doesn't look like a typical LA pad. In fact, it looks like it belongs in a holiday brochure. Photos of the exterior show it is complete with a clay roof, lime green exterior, a bay window and palm trees framing either side of the front walkway. And she didn't have to pay for the beautiful property. Doria Ragland lives in a house in the View Park, Windsor Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles. It is located between Culver City and Inglewood, just east of Los Angeles International Airport. Doria inherited the home from her father when he passed away in 2011, and thus Doria didn't pay for the property. Nonetheless, according to a listing on Zillow, it is worth an estimated £678,000, which is the equivalent of £2,630 rent per month. Zillow states that the property features 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms across 1,400 square feet. Details of the interiors have been kept tightly under wraps, but if the design of this one's wife's former homes are anything to go by, it is likely that Doria will have gone for a muted aesthetic. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex's Monty Shitshow property has its very own guest house, with plenty of space for Doria. There were rumours that Doria may move into the home, but she has not yet done so, although it is likely that she will spend plenty of time there with her grandchildren Archie Harrison Mountbatten-Windsor and Lilibet Diana Mountbatten-Windsor, obviously telling us the names that we already know in order to pad out the word count. Doria's home is considerably closer than the 10-hour flight time they would have had to endure between Los Angeles and London when the couple lived at Frogmore Cottage on the Queen's Windsor estate. And there you have it. A complete nothing of an article. Once again, a PR puff piece about something that we already knew. But it's regurgitated because of the necessity of ensuring that this one's wife is spoken about in order to get to the prime aims. and you're treated to a dull appraisal of a property with meaningless observations about it. I suppose it's quite apt. Dull, empty and boring, just like this one's wife. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.